Want to watch football without the restrictions of blackouts or cable? Check out expressvpn.com to help you get access to all the live games. Sign up today using the link in the description to get 3 free months.
Yoda Bolt fam, it's the director. Chargers fans, how we doing? How we doing, everybody? The draft's coming up, right? I think we're, like a month away from the NFL draft. Ooh, things are starting to heat up a little bit. We're starting to get a clearer picture of what's going on out there with the Chargers. I mean, yeah, there's been some recent news of stuff, right? Dalton Schultz, who we thought was going to be a splash signing for the Chargers, ends up signing with the Texans for $9 million. $9 million. What? We couldn't pull together $9 million. Either way, Chargers should still be in on tight end in the draft, and it's a good class for that. We went ahead and re-signed Donald Parham. It looks like that we're still in the game for John Johnson. I thought this tweet right here said that the Raiders signed John Johnson. No, Jaquan Johnson. That was the look on my face. Oh my God. Okay, it's not John Johnson. And then we also got Morgan Fox coming back on a ridiculously cheap deal. J.K. Scott. So with every signing, it becomes a little bit more clear as to what the Chargers could do in the draft. So today we're going to do a mock draft. I felt like it was going to be a good day for mock draft. We're starting to get a little bit more data on what the Chargers could do. And you guys know how we do it on this channel. 3 mock drafts, mock draft A, B, and C. You guys get to decide which one that you like the most. So let's jump into it, man. Before we do, shout out to the sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. Let's get their photo up here at the very top. Very fun platform. Been using it with the NFL or with the NBA during the NFL offseason. It's a very good time. Use code director to match your first deposit up to $100. Now, before we get into it, hit us up with a like and sub if you do enjoy this Chargers content. Small amount of time you guys take to hit the like, sub, bell notification helps me out a lot. And with that, we got one more announcement. Dudes, we are having a giveaway going on right now. A signed Asante Samuel jersey for one of my lucky subscribers. All you guys got to do to enter for this is make sure you're subscribed. Only subs can win. And hit up the link in the description. Follow the instructions there. Super simple. Good luck to you guys. Asante Samuel Jr. This one's hot. But of course, we always do giveaways in twos. We're also giving away this signed Sean Merriman jersey. Lights out to one of my crew members. All you got to do to be entered for this, be a member of my crew, and that's it. With that, baby, let's get into it. Lights, camera,
action.
My 2023 Chargers mock draft 2.0 should be good. What do we call it on this channel? Take 2 because of the movie theme. Take 2. Chargers mock draft Take 2 for the director's channel. And again, like we said at the top of the video, you guys know how we do it around here. We do 3 mock drafts. Mock draft A, B, and C. You guys get to tell me at the end of the video which one of these 3 mock drafts you like the most. Feel also free to put your comments in the comment section below if you would rather do something a little bit different, tweak any of these mock drafts a little bit in terms of priority of position, etc., etc. It should be a good time. So let's jump right into it. 3 rounds for each mock draft. And we'll see what we can do now that we have more information on the Chargers, their needs, and maybe even priorities. That's the biggest thing I like to think about is priorities shift and change a little bit, right? And with the Chargers bringing back Morgan Fox, Donald Parham, it just kind of opens up your eyes to maybe what they could use now as well as in the future. So let's get into it. Starting mock draft A. So for you guys in the comment section below following, this is mock draft A. You guys can let me know if this is your favorite mock draft by the end of the video. So who do we got in here? Kansas, who seems to be falling quite a bit in recent mock drafts. Don't get me wrong, Chargers could definitely use some help at defensive line, but you also got to take a look at some of the other skill positions that they may be needing now as well as in the future. You have Lucas Van Ness, which honestly, guys, there's some teams out there that look at this dude and think he's maybe one of the top 3 edge position players in this draft, which I think is definitely possible. And then other people saying, yeah, it's a bit of a wild card. We're not quite sure. Chargers could certainly be in on Lucas Van Ness, especially if he's available here at pick number 21. A lot of people would consider that a steal. We got Dalton Kincaid, tight end out of Utah. Now, I think there's a good opportunity to talk about this just a little bit, okay? The Chargers did not go out there and get Dalton Schultz. Instead, he lets him get signed to the Texans for like a $9 million, something ridiculous, right? $9 million for Dalton Schultz. That's a steal. That's a prove-it deal for our guy Schultz, which means the Chargers maybe not huge on tight end, at least for this season in free agency. They went back and they got Donald Parham on a 1-year deal, which was kind of a steal. And they still have Gerald Everett for 1 more year, which does beg the question, what are their future plans at tight end, right? Tight end is becoming a more important position every single year. Every year, you guys take a look at the Super Bowl champs. Who do these guys have at tight end? more often than not, those competing teams have a very established tight end. The Chiefs, most recently, of course, they got Travis Kelce. It's becoming a very important position. Dalton Kincaid, if you're asking me, out of all the top tight ends you're going to find in this draft, I think Dalton Kincaid and then maybe a Sam Laporta in the second round. These guys really fit the molding of what the Chargers want from the tight end position, which is basically another receiver. They want another receiver from that position. I do think Dalton Kincaid, when it comes to the route running, the speed, the ability to get open, just his productiveness through the air, he is the best tight end in this class, I think, for the Chargers and how they want to operate with the tight end position. There's other guys like, Darnell Washington is going to be your pure blocker. He's going to be great for teams like the Packers, who really value run blockers from the tight end position. Then you guys got like one of my favorite in the whole draft, Michael Mayer, who's kind of a hybrid, very good blocker, but also a very good receiver, if not a little bit slower than other guys, very reliable. I think that Dalton Kincaid is probably the best choice for the Chargers at the tight end position. Now, quickly, I'm going to tell you guys right now, we're going to choose Dalton Kincaid in this particular mock draft because I think here at 21, very likely Chargers will be getting an awesome weapon for Justin Herbert. They're trying to establish a new system for Justin Herbert in the Kellen Moore era, the brand new offensive coordinator. And as we know, a tight end can really help move things along in that area. But everybody else that's still available here, Nolan Smith would definitely be very high on my board as well in terms of if the Chargers want an edge rusher. I think Nolan Smith is, I don't know if he'd be a more sure thing than Lucas Van Ness. I think in my mind he kind of is. I would consider taking him. Lucas Van Ness definitely as well. Then you got guys like Zay Flowers, Bijan Robinson, some really good options all over the board. In this particular mock draft, we're going to go with the tight end, though, in mock draft A, because, again, Dalton Kincaid with Justin Herbert, that feels like a very filthy combo that not only works for this season, but maybe for the rest of both of these players' careers. The Dalton Kincaid to Justin Herbert could be the Travis Kelce to Patrick Mahomes for years and years to come. So we're going to take Dalton Kincaid in mock draft A. Let's get into the second round. After the Chargers take their tight end in the first round, does maybe open up some opportunity to fill some needs, which the Chargers don't really have much of, but in reality they do. So let's take a look at a couple of different players here. And again, I'm not gonna attempt to pronounce the name. Adebawore. So what we're gonna go with the top edge rusher left in the second round. Actually kind of a steal spot for him. He should not be available. Again, you guys will see Chargers at pick 54. BFF's got him ranked at 40. It'd be very tough to pass on this guy. Who else do we have? Nathaniel Tank Dell still available here. Again, he's going to be kind of your speed option, more of a shifty guy. Who's the guy that the Chiefs just picked up? They just traded for him. Tony, Kadarius Toney. He kind of reminds me of him a little bit in terms of how the Chargers could utilize him. Kind of that gadget player, very shifty. That's certainly a guy that would be on my board. Then you got guys like Garrett Williams, not bad at corner. Sam Laporta, who would be an excellent option for the Chargers if they still had a need at tight end. Joe Tippmann. You got Matthew Bergeron. Again, a really nice tackle option there. Sidney Brown. Sidney Brown is interesting to me because he is somebody that I would definitely be thinking more about if the Chargers weren't so closely connected to a John Johnson III in free agency, because free agency is still not done, right? We're going to do more mock drafts as the season goes on because things are going to change. There's guys out there like, I think John Johnson III is probably the biggest connected player to the Chargers that can come in there and play safety. But I also like other players like Mecole Hardman at wide receiver, and I think most recently Isaiah McKenzie. I think he just got signed to the Colts. But players like that can really shift what you're doing in the draft in terms of targeting safeties and wide receivers, even tight ends if they decide to go that way. Sidney Brown, if the Chargers do not go after John Johnson III, I'd actually be pretty high on Sidney Brown and really consider him in the second round. Very, very nice player, very versatile. Fits what the Chargers need, but again, I'm anticipating the Chargers at least aggressively pursuing a John Johnson. I would hope that he ends up with the team. So for me, it's between Adebawore. I'm sorry again if I mispronounced. Very good player. Really shocked a lot of people at the combine. Would be an excellent, edge of the future. In 2024 and beyond, when the Chargers likely move on from Khalil Mack, this is an excellent player to start grooming right now while you have that duo on the squad. Tank Dell is also a very nice option if you need to add more versatility to the wide receiver room. You could also throw him in there as a chip, special teamer. there's some options here. I'm going to go with the edge player who I think very much so is a steal here in the second round. Does address, I would say, kind of a need for the Chargers, like edge 3, someone you want to rotate in there for this season. But more often than not, you're going to find players like this in the second, third round that are picks for the future that can really help you out when, you know, another player has to make their exit from the team. And in this case, it's going to be Khalil Mack, who likely is going to be one of those cap casualties of 2024, as the Chargers are in a bit of a squeeze trying to handle that new Justin Herbert contract likely coming in the next year or two. So let's go ahead and take the edge player, take a little bit of that pressure off the Chargers to figure out the edge position. This guy and Joey Bosa should very much so be a nice combo going into the future. Now let's get into round 3, where the director, I'll be honest, maybe we need a bit more brushing up on players 3 and beyond in terms of rounds, but there's some pretty good players still on the board. You guys know what's going to happen. Or again, PFF, every once in a while you're going to see drafts like this. Tank Dell's still available in the 3rd. I don't think is very likely. I mean, maybe it could happen, but that's going to be the pick. Let's see who else is here, though. We got Garrett Williams. We got Tomlinson, the LT nephew, still here. And again, Jamie Robinson is one of those 3rd-round guys, more even 2nd-round guys to me. That would be an excellent option for the Chargers if they're still looking for a guy at safety and John Johnson didn't make it to the team. Dorian Williams is also another really, I would say, likely candidate for the Chargers to step in there at linebacker. We'll get into more of these guys as we move on, but in this draft, we're going to go with Tank Dell. He shouldn't be here. We're going to take what the board gives us, and again, the board's going to change. If you guys take a look at this draft versus the last draft we had a couple of weeks ago, there's different names in different rounds, and that's because things move and shift as you get closer to draft day. So we're going to take Tank Dell, who again is your shifty player. He's got some of the best use of speed in the NFL draft, I would say. It's not pure speed, but he knows how to use it, right? The agility, the acceleration. He may be one of the best in the draft to utilize those traits. And again, the Chargers, they need more speed, but they need more, I just don't know, just swiftiness, right? I think from that position, it would help quite a bit. So we're going to take Tank Dell to round out mock draft A. And honestly, it's pretty solid. And again, some of these, I don't know how realistic it is, man. Like Adebawore or whatever, and then Tank Dell in the 2nd and 3rd. I don't know if I see it, but we'll take what we can get in these mock drafts as it continues to evolve as we get closer to draft day. So mock draft A, not too shabby, not too shabby. Let's move into mock draft B, for those of you following along at home, mock draft B, and see if we can shake things up just a little bit, because again, this is one perspective I've got of the draft where I'm like, man, dude, Dalton Kincaid, if he's available, you just can't pass up on him. But there's other players I feel the same way about. I would say specifically on offense, there's a couple of players on defense that I feel pretty strongly about. Like if they're there, we take them. But as the more I'm looking at the offseason in terms of like free agency and stuff like that, the more I feel like the Chargers really need more help on offense in the draft because of what they're doing with Kellen Moore. The kind of, stats they're trying to improve from the 2022 season going into 2023. It feels like we should be focusing on the offense. And fortunately enough for the Chargers, there are some skill position players in terms of rookies that can make a big impact in their rookie season. And that's what's going to draw us here to our next choice, which I'm hoping he's still on the board. He usually is in these drafts. In my mock draft B, there's 3 players that's in front of you, okay? We got Zay Flowers, who would be fantastic. In terms of speedy wide receivers, he is my favorite. Some people really like Jalen Hyatt. I think Hyatt's a great talent in the late 1st, early 2nd. But Zay Flowers, to me, is a more complete player in terms of his route running. He's not the fastest player out there, but he would be one of the fastest on the Chargers roster. Then you got Bijan Robinson, running back, who, again, the Chargers in a situation right now. We don't know what's going on with Austin Eckler. And even if Eckler comes back, which I'm really hoping he does, Bijan would still be an excellent pick, in my opinion. The best talent in the entirety of the 2023 draft. And then you got Michael Mayer, one of my favorite tight end prospects. As you guys will see, Dalton Kincaid on the left side has already been taken by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I would still be very happy with a Michael Mayer. A lot of people think that because I feel that Dalton Kincaid is the better fit for the Chargers, that I wouldn't want Michael Mayer. Absolutely not. Michael Mayer, a different kind of tight end, right? He would affect your run game, your pass game, your blocking, everything. He's a very complete player in terms of what he can offer you on offense, but he's not quite the receiver Dalton Kincaid is. He's more of like a, I don't know what, like a Mark Andrews, like a, what's the word, like a Gronkowski. A lot of people called him Gronk or Baby Gronk because of his ability in terms of as a blocker. there's just a lot you're getting out of Michael Mayer. I would be very happy with him. And then you have Will McDonald at edge. There's other better edge players in here still available. Let's, for argument's sake, say Will McDonald was in consideration for the Chargers. Another very good player. A lot of the same things we talked about with the second round pick from last draft. You could say the same thing about Will McDonald in terms of his impact with the team in the future. Now, in this draft, in mock draft B, I'm going to be a little selfish here because I'm going to go with my favorite player of this year's draft. As of right now, it could change, right? If you asked me a month ago, I'd probably tell you it's Michael Mayer. But right now, with the more reading I do on the draft, with the more, exposure I have to these players and watching their tape or highlights or just reading, I think a lot of it for me is just reading. The more I've really become enamored and fallen in love with the idea of the Chargers drafting Bijan Robinson. I mean, honestly, guys, there are very few running backs ever that I would say, yeah, first round, I think I'm willing to go in on that. Because right now, the NFL as a whole is not really giving the running back position very much room to progress, right? The running back position is really taken for granted. This is the reason why we're having trouble with Austin Eckler. Eckler scored 20 touchdowns. The man can't get paid $10 million. I think he wants 12, which is pretty high for the position, but that's what I'm talking about. A player that scored 20 touchdowns can't get paid $12 million. That's where we're at in the position. So why would the Chargers use first-round capital on a talent like Bijan Robinson? Well, it's because of what he's going to do for your football team, man. This guy you're talking about, Austin Eckler, even if he's still there, even if he's not, Bijan Robinson is that kind of impact. You want 20 touchdowns? I think Bijan could do it. I think he's one of those outliers that could maybe get close to that number in his rookie year. You never know. You guys want to know his comp? Everybody's comping it, right? All over the internet. You'll see it everywhere. For people that like to comp NFL players to the rookie players coming in from the draft, it's LaDainian Tomlinson. He's got the receiving skills of a Christian McCaffrey. He's got the ground skills of a Saquon Barkley. Put those together, boom. They digivolve into LaDainian Tomlinson, and it's Bijan Robinson, who carries those similar traits. That's ridiculous. So in my selfish mock draft B, I'm taking Bijan, man. You cannot ask for a better player in terms of helping the Chargers balance out their offense. A lot of people saying, we need that tackle, we need that tight end to help us in the run game. Why not just get the best running back this draft has seen in very many years, right? This is one of the best running backs I've seen in a very, very long time. Let him carry a lot of that. And behind a line that's actually pretty good with the Chargers, behind a passing attack that's actually really nice for the Chargers, Bijan would have such a major success story with the Chargers. It would make me very happy. So my selfish pick, I'm taking Bijan, who again is kind of my draft darling at this point. If he would be the player that I get like, wow, like if we decided to draft him in the first round, I'd be like, wow, we got the best player in the whole draft. It doesn't mean I wouldn't be happy for other players. Of course I would be. But for me, the director, I think Bijan, at least right now, has emerged as my favorite. I would really hope that we go after him. All right, second round. We got the running back, which we didn't even get in the first mock draft. We got a linebacker value here. And Hanley, this is not a bad pick at all, especially if you're looking for a guy in the future past the Eric Kendricks. He's not much of a coverage linebacker, this guy, but at the same time, he does offer you a lot in terms of maybe what they wanted out of Kenneth Murray. I don't know. That's a value pick right there. And that's one that honestly I would consider. You still got Tank Dell. You got the edge, which again, those two very high for me right now. You got corner Stevenson out of Miami. You still got Garrett Williams. You got Sam Laporta. You got Andre Carter. You got Matthew Bergeron. You got Sidney Brown. This one's tough, dude. Honestly, in my selfish draft, who would I take? It really, okay, for my selfish draft, I think that speed at wide receiver, or at least the use of speed, would be very deadly when you compare him up with Justin Herbert. I really do. But in my selfish draft, I think, honestly, dudes, I think I'm going to go with Sam Laporta. Now, Sam Laporta is not as good as Dalton Kincaid, but you use them similarly, okay? These are receivers at tight end. And when in terms of talking about boosting this offense and grooming it for a guy like Kellen Moore to operate with, I think adding Bijan Robinson and then a stud tight end and Sam Laporta, who, and don't get this mixed up, guys. I think Sam Laporta would be a first round like tight end talent in other drafts, if that makes sense, right? Because of how good the tight end position is this year, Sam Laporta got pushed to the second round. I think Laporta would have been maybe the first tight end last year, maybe the year before. I don't know. I think he's a great talent. He's got things he's got to clean up. He's not as good as Dalton Kincaid, but it's another just super valuable receiver for Justin Herbert. Maybe he needs a little bit work on his blocking a little bit. I don't know if he's that bad. I wish that they had those stats here on PFF. Either way, very nice, I would say, complete tight end that you could, pair with Justin Herbert. These guys would rock together for a very long time. Then all of a sudden, this Kellen Moore offense that now has Bijan Robinson and a stud tight end for the future is looking nice. And again, my selfish draft would be very offense oriented, because the Chargers, they already have a nice defense. They've spent a lot of money on that defense. We got to throw some capital in for the offense here too. Tank Dell's still here. Why is he falling to the third round every draft? Not that I don't want him. Of course I want him. I just don't know if I see him falling that far. Tank Dell's still here in the third round. Probably going to be the pick. Who else do we have here? Anybody that's a little bit more realistic? Dorian Williams is very realistic. I like that option. Tank Bigsby, Tyler Scott. I would say between the two. Nathaniel, Tank Dell's not going to be there, I don't think. I would be okay with Tyler Scott. Marvin Mims is not bad either. You got a lot of players that kind of have that speed trait that the Chargers are looking for. Even though this wide receiver class isn't great, there are some that can carry what you need from them in terms of a little bit of extra speed. It's not going to be burners like we've seen in classes in the past, but they bring more speed than the Chargers have right now. So in this mock draft, what do you guys think? Should we cheat and take Tank Dell, who I don't think is going to be there, but the board gave it to us? Or should we take... I kind of want to go wide receiver. I really do like Dorian Williams here. I think a third-round pick. This is a very smart pick if you're asking me. Tank Bigsby is not a bad pick either if we didn't already take the running back in round 1. Tyler Scott, again, he's fast-ish. He's not burner, but he's fast. He'll be available in the third round, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking to help this offense, and this offense needs speed. We gave him a running back. We gave him a tight end. Let's give him a little bit of speed at wide receiver. For the sake of versatility, I know Tank is still there. If he was still there in real life, 100% I'm taking him in the third round. But for the sake of versatility here, we're going to take Tyler Scott and round out this mock draft B with our speedy wide receiver. And again, he's not a burner. He's not Mecole Hardman out there. He's not, Tyreek Hill out there. But he's got some speed behind him that I think would very much so pair well with Justin Herbert. And I think give us enough value in this draft class that's not great at wide receiver, but still give us what we need. So this is my mock draft B. Bijan Robinson, Sam Laporta, and Tyler Scott. All right? Not too shabby, right? It's kind of crazy when you take a look side by side. Even with the crazy value in this, it's a great draft. It's a great mock draft. Let's go into mock draft C as we're rounding out, 22 minutes on the video already. We'll try and be a little bit quicker with this one. Let's enter the draft here, see if we can make a little bit more versatile choices, but it's going to be tough for me to top the last two that we've put together. So in round 1, we still have Dalton Kincaid available. Can we make it a little bit more versatile? We got Nolan Smith. We got Zay Flowers. We got Michael Mayer. Okay, still some really good options. Now, in this mock draft C, I'm going to do something that I still think is very important for the Chargers. Something that, again, we addressed in the third round last draft, and that's speed at wide receiver. And again, some people will disagree with me. I think Zay Flowers, when you're asking for decent speed, and more so what you're asking him to do with that speed, he's a very complete receiver while also being one of the better in terms of speed in this draft. We're going to go with Zay Flowers because this is something that we've been professing that's so important for the last, couple of months, 6 months even. The Chargers need speed. Justin Herbert cannot be unlocked unless you add a receiver that can stretch the field, and Zay Flowers can do that. I understand. He's not the biggest dude out there. 5'9", right? 182 pounds. If you guys take a look at him, though, man, he's pretty built for his size. Kind of like a Austin Eckler of the wide receiver position. This dude's good. I know he's not the biggest, but neither is Tyreek Hill. And look at the kind of impact that he has out there. He's not as fast as Tyreek Hill, not even close, but he does provide that quickness, movable weapon, right? He's definitely the kind of guy that can go out there and force defenses to respect the deep ball. Imagine, dudes, we haven't had that kind of respect since Justin Herbert's rookie year, when we were really utilizing Jalen Guyton and Tyron Johnson. Back then, the Chargers, they boasted a top 5 offense. And it's because the defenses were very afraid of stacking the box or playing close to the line of scrimmage because the Chargers would just burn you over top. Over the last 2 years, teams have not been afraid of Justin Herbert in that way. It's not because Justin Herbert can't access that part of the field. It's because we didn't have any players that can reach it in time. Zay Flowers would. And he doesn't just offer you that speed. He offers you a lot more than that. Some people say Zay's not a first-round talent. I guess you could say so if it was in comparison to other years. in terms of, you know, talent at the wide receiver, but I don't care. Zay's the guy for me, I feel like, in terms of speedy wide receiver. We're going to take him in this mock draft C. I think him and Justin Herbert, you're very much so investing in getting a complete version of Justin Herbert by taking a pick like Zay Flowers. I wouldn't mind Jalen Hyatt either, but I personally am just higher on Zay Flowers. Now let's take a look at the second round. Henley, once again, still available. We got the edge still available. You got Tank available. Laporte is still available. This is going to be tough because I do want to be a little bit more versatile with this. There's some good options, guys. I'm not going to lie. Siaki Ika is also a very nice option in terms of nose tackle if the Chargers want to start grooming their run stopper of the future. Let's take a look, all right? In terms of versatility, there are guys that I would take, right? I would probably take the edge in this draft. I would probably still think about double dipping with Tank Dell. I honestly would. The Chargers going from no speedy options to 2, that's not off the table for me in the first 2 rounds even. Isn't that crazy? Garrett Williams, not off the table for me either. I think cornerback, the Chargers corner position, depending on how JC's recovery looks like, could probably still use some extra help for the future. And that's what these, you know, rounds 2 and beyond are kind of for. Even round 1, depending on where you're placed. Sam Laporta still available. Tight end, wide receiver. That's hard for me to pass up on right now. Man, this is tough, dude. Sidney Brown, still there. Bergeron, still there. He would be a nice swing tackle, maybe tackle of the future. You got the Tomlinson. You got Zach Charbonnet. Guys, honestly, dudes, second round pick. Charbonnet, this running back class, the more I look at it, it's kind of nuts. Because Charbonnet, I honestly think would be the number 1 running back in a lot of other years. Gibbs would be another number 1 running back in a lot of other years. Charbonnet, for those of you wondering, the Chargers, the reason a lot of Chargers fans feel like the running back position isn't great, even though we have a running back that scored 20 touchdowns, which is insane to me, is because he doesn't fit the prototypical running back mold, which Zach Charbonnet does. 6 feet tall, 214 pounds. The dude's a bruiser. He's the definition of bell cow. He's the kind of guy you can hand off the ball to every single time. And honestly, dudes, if you're looking to improve that run game, a second round pick on a running back who in other drafts would maybe be the number 1 running back in the league, you could talk me into it. This is tough, dude. So you got the speedy wide receiver. If I'm being honest with you guys, my gut instinct is to go with Sidney Brown, but I'm really hoping we have John Johnson. I'm going to do it. I'm going with Zach Charbonnet, dude. Go watch some of the tape on this guy, or a highlight, whatever you can access on YouTube. Watch some film of this dude. He's crazy. He's a tank. The dude just does not go down. If you're talking about players that refuse to be taken to the ground in the first, touch, the first tackle, it's Charbonnet. And you mix him in with the already existing running backs of the Chargers. Let's really hope we still have Austin Eckler at that point. That really is the perfect 1A, 1B kind of combo. Charbonnet, a very nice talent. Now let's take a look here in the third round. And I'll be honest with you guys. There's still some really good talent here. I honestly would be very, very tempted with Dorian Williams. I still think I am. I actually kind of want to take a look at the tight end position. I say let's really go all in on the offense, right? Schoonmaker, I think we kind of missed the boat. That's some of my favorites. I mean, there's not some bad ones out here. Schoonmaker definitely wouldn't be bad. Allen wouldn't be bad. I just don't know if I'm in love with some of the options at tight end there. So let's go ahead and take a look. Tank Dell's still there. Again, I feel like we're cheating by taking him here. Jamie Robinson. Again, we passed up on the safety last round, but Jamie Robinson I also quite like, actually. I think that he would be a good option for the Chargers at the position. Dorian Williams, your coverage linebacker of the future. You still got another, you can double dip once again. I think, again, Schoonmaker's not bad. Tajay Spears is also a really good option if you guys are looking for a third round guy at running back. Oh, this is tough. I think we're going to round out draft C. It's going to be between Dorian Williams and Jamie Robinson. Again, I think the Chargers, I have a strong feeling that they're going to be the team that ends up with John Johnson. So I think in this mock draft, we're going to round it out with Dorian Williams. And again, not the sexiest pick, but again, you take a look at what this cat can offer you. 6'1", 228. He's a coverage linebacker. He's the guy that you're going to have step into the Eric Kendricks role once that contract expires. I feel like this is just getting another Drew Tranquil, right? Maybe better in terms of their coverage ability. I think it's an intelligent pick. So we're going to go with Dorian Williams in this mock draft. All right, we're getting close to the 30-minute mark here, dudes. Now is the time. Now is the time to put in your votes in the comments section below. We got 3 mock drafts today. Mock draft A, right? We rounded out with Dalton Kincaid, the tight end, at the Borough way. the edge. He's a freakishly good edge, okay? In terms of how he tested at the combine, very good. He's got a bright future ahead of him. If he can have some time to develop behind guys like Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, very good edge player. And then we got Tank Dell in the 3rd. Feels like cheating a little bit, but he was there, like all 3 mock drafts, which is crazy. Is he falling in real life? You guys let me know. That's mock draft A. So if this is your favorite, put in the comment section below, mock draft A. This is your favorite. Now let's go to, I'll be honest with you guys, my favorite of the video today. We got Bijan Robinson, who's become my guy of the draft this season. We got Sam Laporta, the tight end in the 2nd round, who, again, very good option for Justin Herbert. And then we got a wide receiver, speedy wide receiver, in Tyler Scott in the 3rd round. You're talking about big 3 in terms of improving this offense, who already has a good offensive line. This is it to me, man. Speed wide receiver, a reliable tight end, I would say stud tight end in Sam Laporta, and the best talent in the entire draft in Bijan Robinson that helps your running game. That's my favorite. If this is also your favorite, put draft B in the comment section below. And then finally, draft C, which, again, this is also a very strong draft in my opinion. You get the speedy wide receiver in Zay Flowers, probably the best talent at wide receiver with the speed this draft, which, again, maybe a bit of a weaker class, but it is what it is. Chargers go back and back with helping their run game with Zach Charbonnet, which, again, if you guys don't know about him, go look him up. I feel like this would be a strong pick. Some people would disagree. I understand the argument. If you're not going to take Bijan, don't take anybody at all. I get that. But Charbonnet, to me, with a team like the Chargers that needs help at running back, he would provide exactly what you need, a between the tackles kind of guy. This is it, right? And then Dorian Williams, an intelligent pick at coverage linebacker for the future. I would say 3 very strong drafts. This is mock draft C. If this is your favorite, let me know in the comment section below. And also let me know if you guys would do anything different. If you would choose a different player. If you liked, let's say, mock draft B, but you would do something different in the 3rd round. You guys let me know. These are mock drafts for a reason. They're just opinions on the fly. They're conversation starters. In the end, it's going to be exciting. It just broadens our perspective of what could happen on draft day coming up in about a month. So you guys let me know in the comment section below. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been The Director. Remember to enter for the giveaway for the signed Asante Samuel Jr. jersey. And for all crew members, get excited about the Lights Out Sean Merriman jersey. And again, thank you guys so much for everything you guys do in the channel. It's been a very, very fun offseason to kick things off. We had a very busy week last week. I think like 8 or 9 videos in 1 week, which is insane. I had a lot of fun with that. Let's hope that the news continues to churn on in so we can continue to just party with the Chargers this offseason. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been The Director. We'll see you next time. And as always, bolt up and stay frosty. I'm sorry, guys. Bijan is kind of my dude right now. Until further notice, The Director is a huge Bijan Robinson bandwagon fan.